You did tell me that.
Did I tell you that? Okay.
I didn't know.
I didn't tell you that?
News to me.
Well, news to me. So when did you...
Starting off really great.
When did
so
you
when
tell...
did you find out?
Yeah. So do you
when
want
did you tell her?
Do you... Yeah.
How long have
Her.
you known?
Oh, so you told her.
It's not only that Leah doesn't know. You told me of all people.
Like we're just fighting over Ross as our best friend.
Wow, I like that. Keep going, guys.
We were just insulting him 3 minutes ago, but
Now that we're rolling, let's provide... Does my hair look stupid?
yes.
What, can I fix it?
No. It looks good. It looks good.
All right, because sometimes it...
I like that you're checking yourself out in your phone.
Yeah, that's
Poops
really
up.
smart because I'm just like guessing over here.
I do that sometimes if I'm out and I like think I smudged like my eyebrow or something.
Yeah.
My eyebrows only go to here. So if I smudge them, I'm like, well, they're
my
gonna be gone.
God.
They're gonna
News to
come off.
me.
All right. Our hair looks
Yeah.
great.
Well, now I
We're
told
good.
you guys at the same time. You see that? I just announced
Yeah,
it.
Leah just take
Hey,
notes, Ross.
Tell
Jesus.
everyone.
You know what? I've got a way
Group chat.
we could
Never heard of it.
We could all tell each other
Everything.
things at the same time if you guys wanted. I have an idea.
Okay.
I have an idea. Should we make a podcast?
We could make a podcast, and I think there's a really good way that we could all answer the same questions and tell each other our answers all at the same time and avoid this heartbreak that I have done to Leah. And it's by playing We're Not Really Strangers again, or for the first time if this episode
Yeah,
comes out
who
before the
knows?
other one we recorded.
No continuity.
Honestly, same.
Ooh, honestly, same.
Honestly, same.
Honestly, same.
Honestly, same.
same. Honestly,
Honestly, same. Honestly, same.
Honestly, same.
Honestly, same.
Honestly, same.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. This is Honestly Same. We're going to play a game today. There's the
Yep.
horn.
Is it a horn? I think it's a horn.
Is it a horn?
Yeah, I used to have an app on my phone so that I could just like click it
Oh,
when I
you
wanted
should
to.
do that. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ross.
I'm Leah.
I'm Brittany.
And the three of us have come together to
Sugar,
bring
spice,
you.
and everything nice.
Ooh, which one's who?
I'm awesome.
I'm definitely
Buttercup.
a buttercup.
Yeah, what kind of
Oh
question
my
is
God,
that?
I'm Bubbles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're Bubbles.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. I
Are you
love
so
that.
excited to be
I'm so
Bubbles?
excited. I love, and I also asked that question looking at your guys' hair, and I was like, oh, well, you have to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you literally have to be.
So now you
Blossom
have
and
to
Yeah,
bleach your
Buttercup.
hair.
I have blue
And
on
wear
under here.
pigtails.
I would do
Oh
that.
yeah, blue.
That's
I thought you
fine.
said I have blonde. Like you have blonde chest hair. No, I'm not good. I have blonde chest hair.
I have blonde chest hair. Look, I like.
That's very Bubbles.
I
There's
pull my
some
shirt down,
news.
and it like poofs out.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Hey, do you want to start this game? Do you want
Yes,
to play?
let's do it.
All right. Here we go. Question number 1. Wait, should I have started?
Well,
You already did.
grabbed the card.
So
There's no going back now.
take it upon yourself.
Okay, yeah, so we'll each answer this. So how many relationships do you think I've been in? How many times do you think I've been in love? And explain.
One.
You think I've been in one
Because
relationship?
that's the only
in-
time, the only one I've ever
It's the only
heard
one you've been
about.
around for.
Okay, I'm gonna do some quick math. I'm gonna say
Quick math.
3 relationships. I'm gonna say 4. There might
4
be someone I
relationships?
don't know about.
I was going to
Okay.
say a serious, I feel like that makes sense because we did do an episode about like high school and we did have a Ross episode that we
Yeah.
filmed previously or not yet.
And I'm gonna say, yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
If we're going to have a Ross episode.
We'll see if he sticks with us.
We're debating.
Yes.
And then I would say you've been in love. Okay, it depends on how you're looking at it, but if we're talking about like saying I love you or being in genuine love, if you like now that you know what that is, I'm gonna say 3 times. I'm gonna say 4 relationships, 3 in love.
I have to do some math.
I'm going to say 4 relationships and 2 that you were in love.
Guys, the silence, if you're listening to this, is me recounting my life. I'm trying to...
There's
trying to
just
think.
so many.
Oh
There's
my
just so many.
God.
Let me figure out which ones I loved. 4... Wait.
And you can be in love with people you didn't date too.
That's true. Yeah, that's
Does
definitely
that
true.
count as an answer, though? This is like relationships.
It's
What
our
is a
podcast.
relationship?
We can do whatever we
We
want.
can do whatever we want.
3 in love. 4, 5 relationships.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So
That's me.
You were close, and I would just basically was like, yeah, 4. 4 seconds.
Lee was like,
sounds
you know
good.
what? Actually, I was thinking the same thing. After I said 1, I was actually like,
I met
4.
Ross, and I was like, he doesn't like people.
You
I've
think
never
I
heard him
don't like
No,
people?
I've never heard you talk about anyone until like we started getting into the life talks. And so for me, I was like, has Ross experienced love and like things like that? Because it's just not a subject that we ever had like talked about before. You know?
Then we did.
And now we do a
And now
lot.
we
And
fucking
now
do.
we do a podcast about it.
A
Okay.
whole
All right.
lot.
Leah.
This is serious relationships, right?
Serious.
Yeah.
But again, I have been in love
Like,
with people that I
longer than-
wasn't like.
Well, no, but I'm talking like I've had boyfriends where it was like a month. You know, like
no, yeah,
I
I
call that more of like a fling.
I would too.
Okay.
So I'm
So now
gonna say.
I have to count in my brain.
I
Yeah,
want to say
see,
4-3 for you too. I gotta count in my brain too.
I'm going to say you've been in. Why does 4-3 just make so much sense?
Feels good. It feels good.
4-3 really like four
relationships, 3 in
love.
If I'm talking serious relationships, like people that like, let's say like for me, serious is like people that I guess it depends on what you consider like a serious relationship. Because I could also
Well,
be like,
it's whatever
well,
you.
know,
Because you could be like, actually 17, you dumbasses.
yeah.
You could.
Nice try.
You could say that to us
Nice
if you
try,
want.
sweetie. So I'm gonna say. So you guys are saying 4-3 as well.
I feel like 4-3 is a good number.
I don't want to do the math on mine yet, so I'm waiting until you're done. And then I'll
I
sit
know.
in
I'm like,
silence.
I have to sit here and be like, okay,
Yeah,
wait.
see?
Because I'm like going in my brain of like what I consider serious. You know
Oh,
what
so
mean?
I
Like,
counted and everyone got all over me. And now we all have to count.
Nobody was getting on. You were getting on yourself. You were like, listen, everyone, I'm just counting. I'm sorry. I'm going to say actually it's 3-4. Like 3 like real like serious like relationships that I would count like where I was actually like with the person, but 4 times that I was like in love.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
even 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because one, I mean, there was like, you know, when you're young, you're like, okay, did I know what love was? But in that moment, I felt like I was in
No,
love.
you
so-
felt like you were in love.
Yeah. So we'll say 3 and 5.
Okay. Let me do my
All
counting
right,
now.
Brittany. Brittany's up.
Oh, wait. What are your guesses while I'm counting?
Okay. I'm gonna say
Don't look at my fingers.
She's counting. Quick. Get the answer.
I'm gonna say 5'2". It's my height.
That's
almost.
kind of. I was leaning something like that. I feel like. I don't know because you're saying like, hey, anytime you felt like you're in love, so that means there's more
Yeah.
than what
Yeah.
I would say like, oh
I'm a
yeah,
very,
this
like,
person.
yeah.
I'm gonna say.
Oh, then I just want to change. Oh well, I already hit send.
I
It's
like it.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 4 in love. And 5 relationships.
Yeah. I would say 5 relationships. I would say 4 in love, but one of those is not the relationship.
Okay. That makes sense.
Wow. I guessed correctly.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You guys know each other so well, and I'm like, I'm just gonna like shout numbers.
Leah was like, Russ has never been with anyone ever.
He's never
I'm
been
like,
in
Ross-
love.
I've never seen him with
He
anyone.
dated
Ross
no
is
one before I
asexual.
knew him. He's
He
been
has
with
to
no
listen to
one.
the-
entity. He's like a Ken doll. He just
Yes.
is like plastic. And
I just show up for
He's
stuff.
just
like
Except for
that.
his chest hair. But we will have a sexuality episode, so you'll have to listen to that to see.
more about
Yeah.
those subjects
To find
in
out the real
detail.
answers.
The dirt.
You want me to go, Leah?
The tea. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
You go next. I'm
Does
drinking
it matter?
hot
Should I
chocolate.
start here?
I don't think it matters. We can
I
pull
wanna
from
do level 2.
any of the decks.
Which one of your parents' personality traits do you want to keep, and which one do you want to let go of?
It depends.
Yeah. Should I just answer since I pulled it, and then I'll pass
yeah,
the card around?
yeah.
Okay, so my mom is the least jealous person I've ever met. Like, she is so go with the flow. She's so cool. She's like, you have my trust fully, and if you mess it up, that's totally on you, and that sucks for you because I'm gone. I have that. It's not always, but I also have my dad's anger issues.
Okay.
So those don't always work well together. Would love to let go of my dad's anger issues. That would
Yeah.
be great. But I would really like to keep, and I think I'm in a position like in my relationship where I don't have to be jealous of anything. But just in general, I love that trait about my mom, and that I feel
Yeah.
like I have it. There's not like a lot of comparison that I do between other people in relationships and things like that anymore.
Yeah. No, that's a
Yeah.
good thing. Okay, let's see. Okay. As far as like keeping, I think that I would love to keep the fact that like my dad can like make light of any situation. He was diagnosed with cancer when I was in like the 6th grade, and he was like making jokes the whole time. It was like stage 4, and
Oh my
that's
God.
pretty serious.
Yeah.
But yeah, luckily it was in his tonsil, which they removed. That's a whole other story. But the entire time, I mean, he was just like joking and making like, you know, kind of like the best of the situation
That's
type
what I
of
want
thing.
in parents.
Yes. And he's always also been like just able to kind of overcome his obstacles in that way. So I feel like that's something that I would love to like potentially keep, because I like to think that I look on the bright side of things. My mom is really good at solving problems. Like I like that I've gained that from her, where I think sometimes like people tend to look at a situation and go, oh my God, like freak out, the world is ending. And I feel like from my mom, she's always been a problem solver. Like, okay, well, what are we going to do about this? So those are 2 things from my parents that I'd like to keep. As far as like letting go of things that I've gotten from my parents, I would say I definitely tend to have moments where I feel like I have like little bits of anger here and there. My dad was a little hot-headed growing up. He's so much better now, but who wouldn't be with 3 teenage daughters? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But so I feel like that's something that like I have to work on here and there, where like every now and then I'll just be like, ah.
Yep.
And then as far as like maybe something that I got from my mom that I would like to not have, I think my mom is a sensitive person, and I think I am a sensitive person, but almost like she wasn't like, as far as I know, like ever to a fault sensitive, but I think I sometimes am sensitive to a fault. So one thing from each of them I'd like to keep, one thing I'd like to get rid of.
So mine so both of my parents are very emotional. So in like, but that goes on both ends of the spectrum. Like growing up, they both would like the emotions of like being upset or angry would immediately kind of like take over, but also the emotions of like, oh my gosh, I'm showing so much compassion, or like my dad will cry so easily, which, so I know that's,
I kind of
Just
love
like
that.
highly emotional.
Yeah.
yes, that's, and like I can cry so easily.
I've never seen you cry because, again, you don't have, you're just like a doll.
Yeah,
to me,
yeah,
so
I have no emotions. But yeah, it doesn't take a lot for me to cry in like the right setting, I suppose.
So is that something that you like?
Well, so this is the thing. Like, this might be a little bit of a cheat answer, but I've been hyper aware of like the negatives that I got from my parents growing up. So I kind of already did like
them
the
go.
work growing up to let those things go. So the
well,
thing
good
I
for
would
you.
have let go would have been like that identifier of, I would notice like my dad would go from like, and not like overbearing or anything like that, but he would go from like, hey, we're fine, to like anything that goes wrong, he's immediately angry.
Yeah.
Right. So like
0 to 100.
I noticed that growing up. So that was the thing that I would have like gotten rid of, probably from like both of my parents. I think both of them had that
Like reactive sort of
very
emotion.
reactive of like they would think about what they're doing, but they would also still be like, this is the worst thing ever, I'm angry, blah, 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 right?
I can speak as a parent to that a little bit. It's so hard to bring your emotions back in for your kids, because you don't ever need to be yelling at kids or whatever.
Right.
But it's so overwhelming when something's so out of your control, because when you're just worried about yourself and something goes wrong, you're like, fuck, but I can fix this. But when it's like people that you're in charge of have messed something up or whatever it is, the overwhelming feeling in your body, it does take so much work to get past that. So good thing you already worked on that.
Yeah, that was something that I feel like I did identify growing up, where I was like, I don't know why, like, why did they freak out? Why did they get so angry about these things? But I also have like the qualities that I want to keep from each of them is like, one, growing up, I would always describe my mom having like I would describe it when I was a child as like being a hippie. And like she wasn't, but she was the one who was like really emphasizing like treat everybody kindly and be like super nice and like be loving and all this sort of stuff. And so to me growing up, I was like, yeah, you think like a
Okay,
hippie,
tree
that's kind
hugger.
of cool.
Yeah.
But keeping that, and then I think my dad's work ethic, like he like
Okay.
will do literally anything, even if he doesn't want to. He's like, this needs to be done. I will go out of my way to make sure that this
Yes.
gets done, and I can
I
solve
guess I'll
like
show
anything.
up for this podcast.
I guess I'll show
I
up
guess
for
I'll
this.
wake up an
Sure.
hour late and roll out of bed.
And so now we're bringing things up off the podcast.
and now it's personal.
And now it's
I'm late to every episode, and Ross was late one time.
Oh yeah, and I also tell you guys, okay, time to wrap it up. I gotta go home. But the one time Ross is like, I got a little extra sleep, which you didn't because the time changed.
I didn't.
You
I
didn't at all.
And it was an
No.
accident, and I didn't know what was going on.
All right.
But now we're here, and this is my last episode, guys. So
Yeah,
thanks
so
for
everyone, if you want to see Ross, you have to subscribe to our Patreon.
Ross is only available on Patreon. now.
yeah. Uh-huh.
If you want to see his
Forgot
chest
about
hair.
the
You want to see my blonde, poofy chest hair?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I think this is a good one because it makes us go a little introspective. What is the hardest part about dating you? I have said this in a previous or upcoming episode.
Who could ever say?
Who's to say?
But I think I tend to have this like grass is greener complex where I'm like, oh, like you're not what I like pictured you to be in my brain like before I met you. Like, it could be better. And I feel like there's just this constant like thing of having to like prove yourself. And not that anybody should ever stop trying in a relationship. I feel like you should always be trying. But I feel like for me, like I enjoy the chase, and I enjoy that chase to continue even once I'm caught, I guess.
Love that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I feel like my answer is two things. One, I feel like I always have two answers for everything we talk
You
about.
do.
And I
say,
do.
okay. My one answer is two things.
And I'm going to keep doing it because you know what? Who's going to tell me I can't?
Hey, it's our podcast.
It is. It's our podcast.
So I'm going to tell you can't. No,
Yeah, that's why I was
And so we're also equally in charge around here, and you can't. My lifestyle. We've talked about
Yeah.
this on other
Yeah.
episodes. I worry that my lifestyle being filled with like, it's like weird because the options are endless, which means I can do whatever I want. I can go wherever I want. Like, hey, cool.
And you're talking about in life, like you're not talking about like in a relationship. You're just saying like generally like your lifestyle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like but then how that translates into a relationship though, because like
Yeah.
technically it would make it super easy because it's like, you want to hang out all day today and literally just be together the entire day? Cool. I can decide to do nothing else and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I can do that. It's not like, I have to go to work or I have to go here or whatever. It's like, oh,
Yes.
cool. I can make any of those decisions. But
When you're busy.
when I'm busy and I
You're
have
busy.
97 things that I'm doing, I'm like super busy. But I do feel like I'm like good at making that time and making that
balancing
balance.
it.
You know what I mean? Like, again, I can freely make the choice of like, oh yeah, no, it's like I don't actually need to do these 10 things because I can just do them tomorrow. I can do them
Yeah.
next week. Like, it doesn't actually matter that much. And that kind of leads into my second part is sometimes, and this might be dumb to say, but I'm still going to say it. Sometimes I worry that my confidence in my like life or myself could be deterring to somebody, which obviously means that's not the right fit.
Yeah.
But I do worry sometimes, and I'm like, do I have, and like I don't, but like I worry that like, do I have it too figured out? Like,
I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
Both of your answers were not bad things. So
No.
try again.
You're like, I'm really good at managing my
So-
time, even though I'm
so
really
I'm
busy.
either really
and
busy or I can
also-
give you all of my time. And sorry that I love myself.
But that's
But
my
I
honest
do
answers
get
though.
it. I do get it.
That's what goes through my head is I'm
Yeah.
like, is this like, and I know that that's dumb to say out loud.
No,
I
it's
know
not,
that those are
because
positive things, but like I feel worried that like
The big quote going around the internet right now, though, is if I am too much, go find less.
that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
And
no,
I
that makes
think
sense.
that you,
Myers.
you do a ton in your life, and you are like you are such a big personality, and but you are confident in your personality.
And I think you will find like your match.
Yeah.
Right.
To that.
right.
But I can't
Exactly.
understand why you're like, this might deter other people.
But it will deter the wrong people from you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah,
far
yeah.
as like from a relationship standpoint.
Yeah, no, that totally makes
But
sense.
I like, you could say I sleep through alarms. You could say, I'm just kidding. I'm so
We're gonna
sorry.
just pick on
I
you
can't
all
help
day.
it.
Huh.
Sorry you did one thing wrong, Ross. I do things wrong every day.
And then we wonder why he won't tell us why he's hard to date.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm actually really easy to
gonna-
date.
It's
okay.
your turn, Brittany.
Let's see. What's the hardest part about dating me? I'm a very good partner. I think. We were just talking about before the episode started that like everyone that we've dated, at least Ross and I, Lee, I don't remember if you said this too.
I was making hot chocolate.
were a stepping
You guys,
stone.
you guys were
We
whispering.
did have a whole episode with our headphones on while
Which
Leah was making hot chocolate.
Wasn't recorded, but we'll see if it was picked up somewhere else, and
You
it will
can
be
find
on
it
the
in our
Patreon.
Patreon.
Right, yes.
Me and Brittany's whisper episode.
If someone has a fake thing in here, a secret camera in here somewhere.
Yeah,
Josh,
I'm sure someone
put it up
has.
on the internet.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm a really good partner, but I would say, like, I really do think that of myself. I try really hard to be, like, cognizant of everything I'm doing and intentional. But I have found that I really need, like, words of affirmation and to have, like, deep conversations a lot about, like, where we're at and, like, the future and stuff. Even though I have a partner that's very,
Solid.
yeah, he's not going anywhere, but
Yeah,
I'm like,
you guys like have a piece of paper that's binding you legally to each other.
Yep.
So,
That's true.
Yeah.
and a house and some humans.
Yeah, you did create humans together, regardless
Yeah.
of the house and the piece
And
of
I'm
paper.
still
That is
like,
like
do
forever.
you like me? Do you like me?
Aw, no, that's actually like really precious.
Yeah,
But
no, it is.
it's annoying though. Like it is because I could be walking down the aisle and I'm like, last chance, do you want to do this?
That's
as if we haven't been together for like 10 years. Ross is like, that's not bad.
No, I was gonna say that's adorable.
Okay. So I think it's so annoying, and I would never think that if Zach needed that from me. It's annoying to me. It's a hard part.
Well, because it's
It's
yourself.
baggage for me that we can be enjoying our time doing something that clearly two people that love each other are doing. Not sex. That was very like vague. That's where my brain went.
No one was thinking that until you said
Until
it.
you said it.
Gonna have to bleep
Two
that
people
out.
that
Can't talk
love
about
each
sex
other.
on the show.
When two people love each other very much,
I'm
they
gonna
have
question.
sex.
I'm gonna look. I'm in the eye and be like, "Do you even like me?" Like he will literally look at his phone for 5 seconds. I've been on my phone for 45 minutes,
And
and
you're
I'm
like,
like,
"I wonder what
okay,
he's
so
doing."
yeah, so you're not interested in what's going on right now. I just sat my phone down, but here we are, and I know that's annoying.
no, I
love
think
that.
that's just. I feel like from the conversations that we've had, I think that you have so much like imposter syndrome in other areas of your life that just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
That you have this like feeling of like, oh, I'm like, am I worthy of this
But I'm
person's
like,
love?
I'm so secure that he's not going anywhere. I don't ever think that, but I do need him to look me in my eyes 12 times a day and tell me that also. Okay, which one do we want to do?
Whose turn is it to draw?
I think
is it
it's
you?
Me, but it just ended up
I
landing
think
on
it's
me.
a level 1 that you did the first time, right?
Yes, and then we did 2 level 2s, I think.
Okay.
So
We
do a
just-
level 3. Yeah, let's
see.
go.
Let's
Let's
see
go
what's-
real fucking deep.
what's in
with
3?
this.
This one's not fun.
Hmm.
Shouldn't have left it in there.
Pass.
Okay, I don't know why this is a level 3, but I do think this would be fun, just in general, to talk about like what is going on with us right now. What song should I listen to on my way home? I would love to
Okay.
give people
Oh, man,
like
this
a
is-
recommendation.
Okay, well, what kind of mood are you looking for? Like, if you're wanting to be like uplifted, or if you're wanting to feel kind of more mellow, like what's your vibe
Yeah.
that you're wanting to take from?
On my way home, I like all my music is like scores and like soundtrack stuff usually.
Okay.
So I love to
would
make little
say-
soundtracks.
I would say I played this game. There's like a series of games. It's just 2 of them. The first one is Ori and the Blind Forest, and then the second one is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And it is a video game soundtrack that is like, I mean, playing it is like playing a Pixar movie. This
Okay, fun.
episode is sponsored by Ori and the Blind Forest.
Nice.
No, but seriously, like the soundtrack of it is so good, and it's so just like, I don't know, Pixar-y and like Studio Ghibli-ish that
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's like adorable,
Very
but makes you
whimsical.
like feel stuff. So
I
I
love
would
it.
say if you're a soundtrack person, that would be my suggestion.
For Ross, I feel like I send you music sometimes. What do you
I
want?
don't know if you've ever sent me music.
I did. I sent you Colt's Gilded Lily.
Wait, he didn't tell you what he was gonna send.
Oh yeah, what do you send to
thinks-
me?
Oh yeah. So this is hard because I have to give like, I don't know. I was trying to think about that when you were answering, and like I
A
don't.
podcast episode from Honestly Same.
Yeah.
That's what you should listen
Yeah,
to.
no music,
That's what everyone should
everybody.
listen to
I'll
on their
send
way
you-
home.
Yeah, the latest episode of Honestly Same available now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube.com.
That's right.
I don't know. I really don't know. That's kind of hard, I'll be honest, because a billion things are coming to my mind, and I'm like, do I send you do I tell you to check out a movie score or a video game
Yeah,
score like
you
that?
do.
Do I?
How else am I gonna find it?
Yeah, but I don't know what to tell you to find. Is the problem?
So
What do you
witty.
think that Brittany needs musically in her life?
You know what? There's a band called I hope I get this right. It's a band called Dive In.
Okay.
There's a song called Hold Me Down.
Okay.
and it is main character energy song that when
Love
it
that. That's what I
plays,
want.
I'm like, fuck yeah, I can do anything.
Dive in.
That's
hold
what
me
I
down.
would tell you.
I will listen to it.
But the problem is that's probably what I would also tell you to listen to.
Well, I
so.
was gonna say I would say my answer stands for both of you guys.
Okay,
I think
so we
it's,
can
yeah.
it's definitely something that like I would be like, yeah, like if you guys like scores and soundtracks, like
That's
100%.
mine for both of you because it feels
Okay.
very main character.
Yes.
Like if you were whatever mood you're in, whether you're happy or bummed, I feel like if you listen to that song, you're like, oh,
Yes.
this is good. Like it's like a score to your driving scene home
That's
while you're
what
like,
I want.
I am changing my life when I get home.
And so mine for both of you would just be, and you probably already listened to it, but the Baby Driver soundtrack.
I've
It's
never
one of the best
listened
soundtracks. The
to
whole
it.
movie is synced up with the music.
Yes.
The entire movie.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
You got to go
I-
home and watch it.
Okay, well now I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, no, it's great. All the scenes like literally line up with beats in the songs, and it was made that way. It's very
Wow.
cool. It's very cool.
That's,
Okay, so
like,
that was
amazing.
that was
That feels
everybody,
good.
right?
That
Yeah.
feels good, yeah.
Okay.
That was why
Um,
was that a level 3?
I don't know. That is a very well, like, hey, we're about to leave and go home. Like
wrap
we're,
it up, bitches.
we're done with
Got
this,
it.
like that sort of thing. Okay, this is a good one. How has your view on love evolved over time, if at all? I feel like mine definitely has, and I feel like and this just comes with like maturing and growing up. Well, if you do mature and grow up,
Yeah. Not talking to me.
some people.
Some people are Benjamin Button and they go backwards.
Some people do just get older, but they do not mature. But I feel like it's easy to look at love as like a thing that we more so like. There's almost like a need to it. I feel like when we're younger,
Oh gosh,
or at
yeah.
least for me, right? It was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, I need to be in love, so I'm like justified, or so I'm like validated,
What
or
is
like
it all for if
so
not love?
Like I feel cool, and oh my gosh, I need to have a girlfriend, blah blah blah. Where I feel like that's been way less of a need, and now it's just it's a comfortable want.
Now
Yeah.
it's like an accessory in your life
Yes.
versus like the centerpiece.
Yeah, it's not like, oh my god, if I'm not in love, nothing is right and nothing works and blah blah blah. Now it's like, oh yeah, cool. Like there's space for that now.
Yeah.
And
Rather
there's-
than I have to make everything about that, it's like, oh no, life exists and love gets to exist in that, and then make it 10 times better. Like,
See, I've like always been in like a relationship, whether it was a fling or something. So I feel like I am like the person where I never matured in that way because I'm always like, no, I must have love. Like,
interesting.
I must have it. But I think as like a younger person, my expectations of love were a lot higher. I loved reading like romance. I loved the Twilight books.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, that was like middle school. Those were coming out. That was like such a big deal. And they were books. I hate to say it this way. They were books written by women.
Yeah.
And then that was what I was basing my expectations of like, you know, what my perfect like partner would look like, because I was like, oh my gosh, like if I had Edward Cullen in my life, like, you know, I need my Edward Cullen. And so I would, and I think in some ways still, like when I met Nick, even like build them up in my brain to be like, oh, this is what he's going to be like. And he's going to be like well-read and like blah, blah, blah. And then I meet Nick and he's like, I read Captain Underpants
Yeah,
in
he's
the
the
sixth
goofiest
grade.
person on the
And
planet.
it's perfect. He's so perfect. But it's just funny because, yeah, expectations versus reality. I think I've had to learn as I've gotten older that, like, nobody is going to fit that, like, perfect book, like, description
Yes.
of, like,
Yeah.
you know, what the perfect person is supposed to be like. or whatever.
100%.
Okay. I definitely was like, I need love when I was younger. I'm very similar to Leah, that I have always been in a relationship. And so I don't know if it's like the security of my current relationship, but I have just found that like on love versus being in love, I don't know. I just feel like platonically you can love so hard, like all of your friends.
Good point.
And divvy things up that way too. Because this doesn't say in love, like end all be all. I don't know. I've just found different ways to like pour the cup of love that I have. Like I'm not just pouring it into one person anymore.
Yeah.
And if I
Yeah.
didn't have that one person, I'd still be pouring it all over the place, and people would be pouring back into mine, and it would feel the same.
100%. Yeah.
That's a really good way
I
to put
love
it,
that,
because
yeah.
I didn't think about
Yeah.
it as like love as a whole. I was definitely thinking like relationship wise.
Yeah.
But I think that's really important to say, like, hey, I love in many ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I feel that.
That's
Honestly,
beautiful.
same.
It's the same.
I like that you're handing them to me because I can't read.
Oh yeah.
Describe your worst heartbreak. What did it teach you? Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
I'm
here
gonna
we
be
go.
vague about it just because of like obviously people involved, and I'm not gonna get into like super specifics, but I may have even talked about this in a different episode, but my worst heartbreak was a very toxic relationship that went back and forth for a very long time. It was a situation where when it finally ended, there was like me and this other girl, and found out that this person was like dating us both, and then basically like told this other girl, hey, this is happening. She ended up staying with the guy, and
That's the worst. You're like, we're in this together, right?
right, and then you're not.
Yeah.
And then you hope for the best for that person, because clearly who the person that they ended up with was, we're going to hope that that person became better now. But regardless, I think that it taught me that you can't always, like, I'm the person where I'm like, I can fix them. You can't fix people that don't want to be fixed. Some people are just going to do shitty things, and there's nothing that they can do to justify it, or anything that you can do to excuse it. People are just sometimes going to be shitty, and you have to be able to, because I'm the kind of person that wants to see the best in people, and sometimes you have to accept that, like, the
They're
best
just the way
isn't
they
like,
are.
yeah, sometimes the best in people isn't the part that sticks out the most.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go next?
Yeah. Describe your worst heartbreak. Ugh. Okay. It was actually just someone I didn't date.
That was same with me as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
So to keep this incognito, what did it teach me? For a long time, I put this person on a pedestal because we ended very like quickly, and our relationship was very good. Our whatever it was very great, and then it was just cut off. So then I just had them on this pedestal for a really long time. And then watched them be like a normal human in life doing normal human stuff, and eventually was able to take them off the pedestal. But for a long time, I just like was holding on to like a memory,
Yes.
and like still in love with like the memory of the person, that they're not that person. You spent like 2 months with them.
It's
they
the
were great.
idea of it.
It's
Yeah.
the whole idea of it.
Or what it could have been.
Or what it could have been.
Yes.
But now, and I have learned from my heartbreaks and like not heartbreaks, that you can like compartmentalize that, have space for that person, whatever, but to never put anyone on a pedestal is what I've learned. Because I've also watched this person like in passing do like shitty things to me or whatever, because everyone's human. So I just think I've been able to forgive most things.
I haven't.
That's good. That's how
No,
you should
it's not.
stay.
It's not.
Forgive, but don't forget.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes. Yeah, don't ever get put back in that situation. But with this, I feel like what I learned, I don't know. I just think that I learned to not put people on a pedestal.
Yeah, well,
like
put yourself
no one,
on a pedestal before you put another person
Yeah.
on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Make sure
Yes.
you're up there.
And I was young.
Yeah.
I was young. They were a little bit older. Just like,
Yeah. It's easy to look at somebody and think like, oh my gosh, they're all that, and that they're gonna, like, I don't know, make you feel like you're all that
yeah.
or something.
Well, and the hardest part about like not dating someone but then getting your heart broken by them is that like, what do you really have to show for
Yeah.
it? You're so sad, but then like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're
It
gonna
wasn't
tell
even,
people
like, a
you're so sad
real
about
breakup.
the person you hung out with for 2 months that like you were never even really dating. We never really dated.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just like the
It
black
still
and
counts,
white.
though.
The, you
That's
know what
fair.
I mean?
Yeah.
Still counts.
I feel like mine is kind of a collection of things that both of you have said. Because I feel like my example is, I feel like I experienced the greatest heartbreak based off of something that was like the first relationship that went exactly how I wanted it to go.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
it felt like, oh my God, this is what
This
I've been
is what
looking
it
for.
is,
Like it was the
yeah.
first time that
What it's supposed to be.
like and more so like that I experienced, like I received love the same way that I give it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like in relationships before that, I was very like, oh my gosh, yes, this is incredible. You're the most amazing person. This is so amazing, right? And people have been like, yeah, cool. Like that's dope. Like whatever, like fine. And then I think like because of that, it felt so much stronger. It felt so,
Yeah.
because that was like the first example of that I got. You know
and
what I
then it
mean?
feels so much worse when it's over.
Yes. So then when it ends, I was like, it wasn't just the fact of like, oh my gosh, I don't have a girlfriend anymore. Oh, I'm single. This is so sad, or blah, blah, blah. But it was, but that thing, like that
That
love
thing
that
that
I
you had.
finally felt, holy shit, like that sucks. And obviously, like, yes, you miss the person and stuff, but that's when it also leans into what you guys talked about of putting them on a pedestal.
Yeah.
But in the same time, also realizing that you've put them on a pedestal that they don't put themselves on.
Yeah, that's like
Yes.
completely on us.
And so then it becomes, and like that relationship had nothing toxic about it, but you also realize, oh, they have to work on themselves. I can't do that. For like, no amount of me loving them can make them love themselves that much.
Yeah.
So it's a classic case of like, if only you saw you the way that I saw you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I feel like that it taught me that one, that exists, of like, oh, hey, the way that you want to love, like give and receive, exists.
Yeah.
But
So
also
good thing to learn from that.
good thing to learn, and at the same time a reminder of you can't change people, and you can, and it's not up to us to fix somebody else. Like that's not,
Yeah.
that shouldn't be
Also.
the thing that we do. But also like the pedestal idea of like, all right, cool, this relationship was what it was, but also we're thinking about what it could have been, and we're thinking about all the great parts, and then when you get removed from it enough, you're like, wait, there was kind of like these parts that
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
really work either. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We will have a whole breakup episode.
There
Yeah.
will
For
be
you
an
all to
entire
listen
break
to.
episode. Yes,
That's
yes, yes,
true.
yes.
You or me?
Wait.
Who read that?
I think
I
Leah
think I
did.
read that. You read that.
Oh, I think Leah did.
I don't remember.
So
Who
me?
read that?
Hey guys, this
guys.
is live right now, so go ahead and
Let us know.
hop over to our Instagram, pick a random
I
post, and
think
comment
it was me
that it was someone.
because I feel like I was like, ooh, I think you
No, I
started.
think it was me.
So it's me.
So it's
So
you.
now your turn.
So how do we
I
feel?
handed
Let's
you.
do one more round, and then we'll
One
wrap
more
this
round,
episode
yes.
up.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Feel good with that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do two. I've been liking two. Connection.
There's also, that's the largest pile. I feel like it's
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
more to choose from.
Who in your life do you feel most yourself around, and why? For me, Zach, I'm literally, it's because we're in relationships, but I literally am so myself that sometimes I'm like, he is going to leave me because I am dancing to like, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. There's no music, there's nothing. And I'm just like
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah.
doing the shit. And he just like looks at me and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But I know that he loves it, even if he's not always laughing at me. And I think all of my friends, I think I just intentionally pick the people in my life that I can be myself around.
Yeah.
Ross, you are great to be around. I don't anymore, since getting out of like my teenage years, hold like space for people that I can't be myself around. That's so uncomfortable. I don't have
Yeah.
time for that.
That makes sense.
100%.
Where's this going?
To me. Okay, yeah. So who in your life do you feel most yourself around? My main one would be Josh Emmerich, my like creative and business partner in a lot of things. There are things that I have
Him.
there are things that I have said like around him or shared with that, like if I said in a room full of other people, they'd be like, what the fuck are you saying? But like he understands a lot. Like we've been friends for like such a long time, and also he has watched me turn into an adult, and obviously he is like grown and all that sort of stuff too, but I feel like he's seen me in a lot of like almost every version of myself,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
met so early on,
All flavors of Ross.
like fresh out of high school. Like he saw very dumb, immature me and like all this sort of stuff. So I feel like he understands all versions
Yeah.
of me really well.
Yeah.
And then I would honestly also say, not just because we're doing a show right now, but I would also say you two guys.
Well, and I feel like that's the
Because-
reason that we're doing this
Yeah.
is because we
Of
have
course.
that connection.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
actually am not myself on this podcast at all. I'm terrified of you guys.
This is a facade. I have my TV voice on, so
No,
well,
I think that like being on camera, I feel like I'm maybe less confident, or I'm trying not to like talk over people or things like that. But I definitely feel like when I'm like with you guys, like yeah, I can just like we can just
Yeah,
chat
the
and
space
yeah.
it's
Well, I
nice.
mean that literally is like that's the reason the show existed, is because
Exactly.
I feel that way with each of you individually. So I was like, what if we sat down and like had fun out of all of this, right? Like yeah.
exactly. As far as mine goes, I feel like I can also relate to like Nick being my partner and like being the person where like no matter how weird I am or like what I do, like there'll I think I told you about this. There was a day where like I have these really big like baggy sweatpants, but they don't stay up, and so they have like that loop style drawstring,
Yes.
and I like put it around my neck, and I come out of the bedroom and I sleep with my hair on like with like a pebbles like
Oh, yeah.
on top of my head so that I have volume in the morning, and then you know my half eyebrows that go to like here, and I like walk out of the bedroom and I'm rubbing my eyes and he's just like,
That's
I
the
love
cutest
you
shit
so
I've
much.
ever heard.
But like I feel like in my brain, I'm like, oh, this is like the thing where like it would be one of those things where I'm like, if I ask him all the time, I'm like, if we could go back in time and you saw a picture of me looking like this and somebody was like, this is your future wife, like, what would you even say? He's like, no, I'd be excited. I'm like, okay. No, but yeah, there are definitely like stupid little dances or like things that we do, at home where I'm like, thank God no one can see us.
Like sometimes I really think about what I'm doing and I'm like, I didn't want anyone to
Yeah.
see that, but that just came out of my mouth or I just did it or
Yeah.
whatever. And he's just there witnessing it. Like,
100%. I think besides that, like, I feel like I can be like that with my sisters because growing up, we had a lot of stuff where like I don't see them as often anymore now that they live out of state. And so when we all do get together, it's kind of like this weird, just like, oh, remember that thing that we, like, who we were, like, back when we were
You're
kids.
just kids again.
And so that's one thing. And then the people that have been, like, I have a handful of best friends, like, that I went to, like, elementary school with and, like, have been my friends up until, like, literally we're still friends now. And so, like, whenever we also get together, I also feel, like, this, like, sense of just, like, oh, like, the person that I've always been like kind of coming out a little bit more around them.
Yeah.
And then same, like you guys, I can sit and talk with you guys about like, the craziest stuff or the most vulnerable stuff. And I don't feel like it feels out of place.
Yeah.
So I think there's like a good handful of people that I feel myself around, which is good because I feel like finding yourself and like staying yourself is really difficult when there's the pressure of everyone else around you seeming so put together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this was
Yeah,
a good one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I liked it.
Yeah,
Is it my
that's
turn now?
I think it's me. I think B just pulled that one,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
okay.
because we're going this way.
Yes.
All right.
I'm like, let me go again.
Okay, my turn.
Let me pick up the card.
This one,
Put it down.
yeah, it's kind of bland. Kind of bland, honestly.
If we're in our last two cards.
Is that not? That's kind of bland, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of bland. This one's like kind of bland too.
Come on, let me see it.
That's not that good.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
This one?
Maybe?
Okay, let's try this one. Let's try this one. All right. Hey, just drew this card first time.
All right, Ross, it's your turn. Go ahead and draw a card.
And drawing this one. Here we go.
We'll edit that out. You
You
can see the unedited
Ross will
version on our
edit it out.
Patreon.
future me. Yeah. Hey guys, if you want to know the two cards that we skipped in our answers for them because we did talk all about them, subscribe to the Patreon. That is a $55 tier. But this question for this episode: what have you tolerated from others in the past that you no longer have space for?
Do you not have an answer?
Well,
I was like, I'll let Ross take the floor.
I'm thinking because I think it's easy to say like a lot of things, right? Maybe that's sort of hard now that I'm really thinking about it. I don't maybe I'll get
I have
inspired by
mine.
something. Okay, what's
Mine is if we're talking about partners and like our expectations for our partners, I'm assuming is really
Things
what
that you've tolerated in the
yes,
past,
yes.
yeah.
I only will be with someone that like our relationship is a priority and like our family's a priority, and I'm a priority. So like sticking up for me. Not that I ever want to be put into a position where you have to be like, hey, that's my wife. But
my wife?
But I would love, like, so many times in previous relationships, like, weird things have happened. Mainly because the relationships were toxic. So then people think that, like, I'm a certain person and then things are, being said or whatever. And having a partner that, like, wouldn't stick up for you, even though they're probably the problem. My biggest thing would be, like, I don't need a loyalty that's unwavering if I'm in the wrong.
Right.
But if I am being, like, put down, I need my partner to, like, be my partner. I think that's, like, the whole point of a partner.
Well, and especially if you're not around. Like, if
Yeah,
you're not
that
there to
too.
stick up for yourself, like, they should be there to stick up for you.
Yeah, so that, I haven't dealt with that, obviously, like, in a while, but that's something that I've dealt with in the past that I would never, like, deal with now. I would definitely.
Yeah. I would say mine is just disrespect. Like, I think it's so wild. I will hear people talk about even, like, their marriages where they're just like, oh, like, my husband, like, said this to me today or, like, did this specific thing. And I'm like, oh, could not be me.
Never.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. And this is going to sound probably like, this might sound bad in some ways, but, like, if Nick says something that is even a little bit off color to me, like, I call him out on it.
Yeah,
and
we're gonna have a
I'll be like,
conversation.
and I'm like, Who are you talking to? You are not talking to me.
The dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but like he'll have like there was a day where he was upset about something, and he said he just like kind of had like a little like burst of like, I don't know, emotion in a moment where he was like, I don't think that you like tried to do this at all. And I said, okay, fuck you. And he just goes, no, I didn't mean it. Because he knew that I was just going to be like bitter about it, because I like have taken so much disrespect in the past, I think, because I was just like, oh, you know, I probably deserve that. I don't know, in my brain a little bit.
It is really wild to think about like previous relationships and the things that you put up with.
Yeah, and I think
like
that like,
blind to it.
And I know that he's capable of being so respectful. So like when those moments happen, and it's very rare, like he is like honestly the best. But it's like if there is a moment, and not even like in just that relationship, but like friendships as well, where I'll just be like, I'm sorry, like
Coming in?
like you just can't. You just can't. I won't put up with it. I'll just be like, oh, that's nice. Like, and in my head, I might not say anything in that moment, but I'd be like, cool. Like, we're not going to hang out with this person anymore because they clearly like don't have any, like, if they're not going to respect me as a person, or they're going to like go around like, you know, saying things or like not sticking up for me or something like that. I'm like, okay, well, clearly like you're not meant to be in like my circle.
Yes.
I do feel like my answer is similar in the factor of like disrespect.
Yeah.
And I think mine is more of like a whole view of like my life, whether it's like clients and like creative or business or friendships or relationships.
Yeah.
Where like, I think I would sort of like, yes, like not tolerating direct disrespect if like a client is like, why would I hire you or why would I pay you
But
for
also,
this?
like,
Because
your
we don't
time.
need the blah, blah, blah. So it's like, okay, you're wasting my time, you're wasting my energy. And in the past, I'd try and be like, oh, well, I don't know. I think I really do need like them to hire me. So I guess I'll just
See,
like
I'm still bad at that.
accept this and blah, blah, blah. Where like now I'm like, oh yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. If you don't want that, go find somewhere else. Go
Go
somebody
find
else.
less.
Like go do it somewhere else. Like it's fine. Exactly that. And I also think in a way where, and this might just, I don't know, maybe this is a thing that we're all aware of or pay attention to. Maybe it's just me and I'm weird. I feel like I've been able to identify when people unknowingly disrespect my time and energy. And not necessarily me holding it again, like me not tolerating it isn't me being like, hey, just so you know, that's not the way I
had
wanted
my
to spend
whole
our
No, but
day
you can
blocked
still
out.
point it out in a respectful
Yes.
way
Yeah.
by being like,
And
hey, I don't know if you realize that you said this way or did this way, but like that like rubbed me the wrong way because
Yeah, and I think it's just like it's taking charge of like those moments. Like in the past with like friends, like I would sort of almost not dumb myself down, because that's the wrong way to put it, but I wouldn't totally be myself. Where like if I wanted to know like how a friend was doing and I really wanted to know how they were doing, but I knew they didn't care to talk about it, I would just be like, oh yeah, fucking everything's dumb, right? Ha ha, no, we don't care about anything. And I'm like, that's not, like, I don't feel good now,
Yeah.
right? And they're like, yeah, fuck it, you're an idiot too, like whatever. And I'm like, man, I don't know, that's kind of actually being disrespectful of like my time and my
Yeah.
energy, where now I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to straight up ask you what I want to ask you.
Yeah.
And not being controlling of a conversation or a situation, but just kind of leading with more of that confidence of like, oh no, like I want to know this thing, or we're just going to talk about this thing. And I'm not going to like let you walk on me or let you, you know, like that sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
I would really put myself down via somebody else unknowingly
them
doing
comfortable.
that. Exactly.
We're going to have a people pleaser episode.
There will
As
also
well,
be a
yes.
people pleaser episode. Yes, indeed. Leah.
Last card.
Final card.
Hope it's a good
Make
one.
it a good one.
You control the words that are on
I
that
don't
card.
want to do this one.
I love that.
What about you has felt repeatedly misunderstood by others, if anything?
That's pretty good.
I don't know necessarily if other people are misunderstanding me or if it's the way that I present myself. But we've talked about like people find me intimidating before we meet, and I know that it's just I wear a lot of black or whatever the heck, and I think that that's like the thing that people misunderstand about me a lot of the time, is that people will be like, oh, I thought you would be like moody and like whatever, and I'm just like whimsical and like clumsy and all of that stuff, because I feel like it might come a little bit from like judging a book by its cover a little bit, but I think that like people assume that I'm going to be, I don't know, less, not relatable or less human in some way, but like,
But they have like a character for you.
yeah,
in their
like
head.
in people's minds, I think that I live in this place that's a little bit more closed off, and I like
You're
to
a little
think that I'm
Wednesday.
like, yeah, and I like to think that like, although on the outside I have like, you know, the black everything, like on the inside it's like sprinkles and rainbows a little bit too. So
I love that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if there's anything other than, I don't know if there's anything. I kind of feel like, okay, actually, what I'll say is I don't know how people perceive me. I don't usually care to know, so I don't know. I know people perceive me. I know that, like, you know, I don't think there's anything that people are like, she does this or doesn't do this, or she would be this, or I don't know. I just don't. I have no clue how people perceive me. I'm reading this question and now I'm having a crisis internally.
oh my gosh. Well, I feel like maybe misunderstood could also go to the fact of like a lot of what your focus is like at this point in your life is like your kids and your family. And like, I think maybe people just like don't look at you as like your own person sometimes.
Yeah. Or they're really excited for me to be my own person. And that is a little scary because I feel like they're forgetting about my kids. They're not. They're like just happy for me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but don't forget about these things because I made them
Yeah.
and they're super cool.
I feel like
You
something.
made people.
Yeah, you got to take care of those things.
People came out of my body.
Yeah.
That's true. I also
big,
feel like
no
maybe
big.
maybe people could misunderstand your like those things you need to focus on as you choosing to not care about them.
Yeah, and that is always, we've talked about that in previous episodes too. It's really overwhelming to, I'm not divvying up my time between like my friends and family. I'm divvying up our time as a collective because I chose to have kids and now my time is their time.
Yeah.
And yeah, there can be like some roadblocks there.
Yeah, because when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So it's like
Yeah.
I need to be
If I'm
intentional
saying-
with my
yeah,
time.
if I'm saying yes, I'll hang out with you or whatever. We've talked about it. There goes my one night this week by myself, or there
Yeah.
goes whatever Winry's got going on, or whatever.
You might not be able to put them to bed at night. You might not be able to like,
People just do not know what goes into parenting. If I were to like give you a list of what I do when I wake up to when I go to bed,
yeah.
and people know that I stay home, that's something that probably people
You have to give 3
misunderstand.
solid
Holy
meals
shit.
to humans.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
even feed myself.
No, they
That's
don't
true. She
even-
doesn't eat.
Winry does go to the bathroom by herself now.
Oh,
Queen is
Love
potty
that.
trained.
Love that.
Angel.
Shout out to Winnie.
Yes.
But I do change diapers all like, so everything I do, people think I'm just like sitting at home. Everyone's like, "How was your first week off?" This is my first week not working.
Yay.
Retail anyway. And I'm like, "What do you think that?" It looks exactly like every other week. I'm just working a different job.
Dude, you're on vacation now.
Dude, are you just loving it? I'm like, so many diapers. It's the best.
Incredible. I feel like mine is that it's hard because I am kind of always on 10 most of the time, but I think people perceive that as like almost this, I don't know, almost like too much where like, oh, if I don't want to talk to Ross about like a business or creative idea, then like I'm wasting his time. When like I want to fucking talk to anyone about
Yeah.
literally anything.
You're just also a regular person.
Yeah, and I think the creative element can sometimes get in the way of that and blur the lines where they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you just like love having a camera in your hands, right? And I'm like, no, actually the least I can have a camera in my hands is what I want.
'Cause that's
and
your work,
I
yeah.
want to like, I am not my work.
Yes.
That's maybe a
Yes.
misunderstanding.
Yes.
I'm
And
not
that is
only-
something that I have to fucking clear up for you all the time
Like,
when anyone's talking to me about you.
yeah, like I am not like, oh yes, I do tons of creative stuff and I love doing it all. There's no like, oh my God, I need to separate it. Like it is like, yes, I
What
do all
you-
these things.
what you
but
do
Enjoy
is
it, but
separate
that doesn't mean
from-
it's your life.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
you do is separate from who you are.
Yes, because who I am is somebody who wants to talk to anyone at any point in time about
Yeah.
literally anything. I love, like we've talked about this plenty on this podcast. Like I love being there for anyone in any situation. I don't
Yeah.
care how happy it is, sad it is. Like I just love connecting with people. And I do think that maybe that's a misunderstanding, is like, oh, well, if we're not being creative, or if I don't,
If there's not a business involved, like
Yeah, or
some sort
like,
of transaction.
I don't know if I should take this to him and ask him about it, because like if he's not involved in it, or so, like I do feel like sometimes, and I think that that's just social media, right? Is like, oh, there's all these things churning
Yeah.
out on social, so they're like, oh, he's got no time for me, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, going on record on this show, I have time, or can make time for anyone and anything. Because I say that not because I'm wanting to give all my time away,
Unless he's sleeping.
unless I'm sleeping.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm doing that because everything I've done in my life, I've intentionally built up to this point so I can make those decisions.
Yeah.
Just like we talked about earlier with the relationship thing. If I want to decide to take a week off and spend it with somebody and do nothing else, I can do that. And I'm not losing anything. I'm not falling behind on anything. Like, all of that's been structured in that way. So yeah.
You're just saying like you can and should, and people should encourage and be a part of your regular life as well.
100%. It's not just, do you want to hire me for something, or can we pay? Like, no. That's not it at all.
Yeah.
Love that.
So yeah, separating those two things, I think is maybe a misunderstanding that I deal with.
Awesome.
Nice.
I
Is that all
think
three of our
that's
answers?
The game.
Yeah.
We
That
did
is
it.
game.
So happy we're not really strangers.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not really strangers anymore. Well, realistically, hopefully we're a little less of strangers with you, our lovely audience, our listeners, our viewers. If you're watching on YouTube right now, we all just stared at you into the camera and gave you
I actually looked
very-
that way, but then looked at the ceiling because I was nervous.
Nope, they're looking. Look
No
away,
eye
look
contact.
away.
I really did.
No eye contact.
Well, that's a reminder. If you want to watch these things, they're on YouTube. I tossed them up on my YouTube channel where all these things that I do go. So
Yeah,
youtube.com/Ross Tyson, or you can follow me at Ross Tyson. Or if you want to follow either of these guys, Brittany, where can they find you?
Yes, HAIBRITTANI. Hi, Brittany.
And Leah.
LA.PETITEGOTH.
And this show is at Honestly Same Pod. We are strangers a little less now. Sponsored by We're Not Really Strangers.
And that other coffee company.
And whatever
River Road.
whatever Brittany said at the beginning.
River
of
And
this.
then
Road.
something else we said that was
Lots of
sponsoring
sponsors.
us. Yeah.
Lots of
Lots of sponsors.
Ross's
Patreon.
chest hair.
My
I don't even
chest
think you
hair.
have chest hair. Do you have chest hair?
Not really. Like, it's also covered up by tattoo, though. So, like, you can. There's not a lot of it. There's not a
There's
lot
some.
of
There's some.
There's a,
Hey,
I
there's
have a
some.
little bit. I do have a little bit.
Thanks, you guys, for listening to the show.
All right, hit that button.